Yeah, this did used to be all trees, didn't it?
Some like over here.
What the hell? Why is there a mask on there?
This looks like some.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like one of those masquerade things.
Yeah, I feel it.
Two friends have been filming this stretch of forest all autumn. Tonight they push in through heavy fog, and up ahead, tied to the trees, they find something that doesn't belong. Cheap masquerade masks, fixed to the bark, spaced out along the path.
Sounds like a full mask. Yeah, you're right. You just want to take it back with us?
I guess if you want it.
Okay.
There's no string.
There's no wire holding the masks up, and no reason for them to be out here at all. As one of them reaches to take one down, the other catches movement deeper in the trees, something the camera never quite finds.
Oh shit! What the? Oh god.
They didn't wait to find out what it was. The recording cuts there, and they leave the woods the way they came in. Encounters like that are a reminder of how little you control the moment you step off the trail. You don't get to choose who's already out there, or what they left behind for you to find. And that's the case for the man behind a channel called Project Amber, who set out that week, thinking his biggest problem was a broken fridge. In May 2018, a man who films his life on the road as Project Amber posted what looked like an ordinary repair video. He was parked high on a mountain range in France, and for the third time in a week, his fridge had quit.
Right, amongst a few things today, my fridge has stopped working.
For most of the runtime, that really is the whole video. A man upside down in a camper, chasing a gas fault, trying an old trick he read about online to get it running again. It's slow, and it's harmless. Then he mentions where he stopped for the night. Just off the track sits an old stone well, its mouth sealed under a heavy metal bar.
Just where I'm parked, you go down this little track, and there's a well with a big metal bar on it.
He wanders down to take a look, and something changes in him. He says the music he'd had booming out across the valley cut dead the moment he reached the well.
Okay, I'm just seriously freaked out now. A minute ago I could hear like really loud moaning, like just booming across the mountains. So I've come down to where I could hear it. I got to this old well, and it stopped.
Standing beside it is a woman, no shoes, no hair, wrapped in something like a monk's robe. He asks if she's all right. She says nothing back.
As I got here, just from over there's no track or anything, it's just wood. This girl appeared, dressed kind of like a monk, no shoes, no hair. So I said bonjour and that, and she responded. I asked if she was okay, but she didn't respond then. She just carried on.
He backs off and keeps his distance. When he turns to look again, the path is empty. No woman and no track she could have taken to get out of sight that fast.
She's gone. So up that way, that's where my van is, and that goes to the road. But down where she went that way, there's nothing, and there's nothing for miles.
Back at the van, the thing he can't let go of is his dog, which will not stop staring off in the direction she went. He decides to pack up, and then almost like a joke the video plays on you. He goes right back to fixing the fridge.
And now the dog keeps looking over in that direction at where it is. So I'm like, nah mate, I might move. But I can't.
He saves the worst part for the very end. He'd already driven 50 miles before he felt safe enough to explain why.
But I wasn't sticking around. I left. I booted it. I'm about 50 miles from there now. I saw the girl another 2 times. The last time I was near the van and she was running through the forest. I left. I was gone. I was gone so fast.
He says he left so fast he didn't even pack up properly. When the video went live, people pulled it apart. A lot of them kept coming back to the dog, on the logic that a man can hold it together for a camera, but an animal can't fake that. Others matched the bald monk and the barefoot woman to an old French legend about 2 lovers who were never allowed to marry. The man ending his days shut away in a monastery. Both of them still said to walk that patch of forest. The steadier voices pointed out the well was nothing to be scared of. That heavy bars get bolted over old wells so people and livestock don't fall in. None of it explained the woman he watched running at his van. Project Amber at least got a look at what rattled him, and he drove off with his van, his dog, and a story. The next man never saw a thing. All he got was a sound, and it was enough to put him in his car before he'd finished cooking dinner. Nick C. spends his winters camping alone in the backcountry and filming it. In January 2026, high in the Alberta Rockies, he set out to test a simple idea: the least amount of gear he could get away with and still survive a freezing night.
And it got me thinking, what's kind of like the minimum amount of gear that I would need in order to, survive the night out in the mountains and in the winter, right? So that's where
he picks a flat, open spot, walks through his kit for the camera, and starts gathering wood for a fire. It's calm, practiced, the kind of night he's had 100 times. Then, with the camera down, something moves in the trees close by, and the whole trip changes.
What I just heard, I don't know, guys. Holy, did it scare me.
He retreats to his car and sits for a few minutes, then does the sensible thing. He talks himself down, tells himself it was probably a snowmobile out on the road, and heads back to try again. It comes a second time, closer, and now the microphone is running.
I'm out of here. I am out of here. What the heck is that?
He describes every hair on the back of his neck standing up, and to his credit, he doesn't reach for an easy answer. His own best guess is a horse. His corner of Alberta is one of the few places left in the world with wild ones.
One guess would be actually a horse. I'm very curious to see if anyone agrees with that. The area that I live in is one of very few places, I think even in the world, that has wild horses. They are rare in a sense, but they're around, and they have actually kind of scared me in the past. I have heard them in the bushes, but it was more of a clear horse sound, This is like, I don't know.
He posted the clip and asked people what they'd heard, and the comments turned into an argument that never settled. C1 Camp was certain it was a cougar in mating season, which people who've heard it swear sounds like a woman screaming. Others heard a bobcat, or one of those wild horses, and a stubborn few landed somewhere stranger, on a dogman or a Sasquatch. About the only thing everyone agreed on was that walking away had been the right call. A sound in the dark can be a cat, a horse, or your own nerves, but not everything that unsettles people out here has a body attached to it. This next place has spent centuries earning its name, and the man who went in alone brought a camera that started doing something no animal explains. Whittle Dean is an ancient stretch of woodland in Northumberland, and folklore has been collecting on it for centuries. 19th century shepherds swore they saw small luminous figures gliding between the oaks at twilight, and well into the 20th, others claimed they'd been chased through these same trees by what they called laughing lights. In October 2025, a solo investigator went in at dusk, hoping to catch a piece of it on camera.
And I've got here a bit too late. The sun's dropped, the moon's out. Place not far from Hexham, so I'm going to go and explore this little section of woodland which has some interesting folklore attached to it, so I'll get in and have a look.
He's arrived late and he knows it, working the trails as the last of the light drains out of the sky.
There's been several reports of laughing lights as well, like even in the 20th century, shepherds being chased by laughing lights in this section of old woodland.
The stories don't stop at the lights. He talks about a 13th century villain named Long Lankin, said to have lived in a castle whose ruin is still somewhere in these woods, and said to still haunt the valley. The sightings aren't all ancient either. A few miles down the valley, around the reservoir these woods feed, walkers have more recently described strange orbs and glowing lights over the water. Northumberland is full of woods like this one, he notes, places the old stories mark as dwelling grounds for fairies and worse. For a while though, it's just him and the owls. Then he crosses a narrow footbridge and passes something that stops him mid-sentence.
That was a bit odd. Of all the places, to bump into a man with a wheelbarrow struggling over a tiny little wooden bridge with some strange objects in it. Trust me to do it, but...
He lets it go and keeps walking, and comes up on a collapsed old stone cottage. Roof gone, walls half fallen in, the sort of place he can't talk himself out of poking around.
Just an open invitation to me, isn't it? It looks like a potentially interesting little place for for an investigation.
Past the cottage, deeper into the trees, his camera, which he says has never once glitched on any trip abroad, starts to come apart on the screen in front of him.
Jump. And this is really, really strange. I'm looking at my GoPro now and the screen has scrambled. The display, it's never done this.
He describes the display filling up with doubles, 3 battery meters, 3 recording clocks, like 3 screens crushed into one. It rights itself a few minutes later, as suddenly as it broke. And that's when he pins down the thing that had been nagging at him since the bridge.
Funny enough, because I thought I heard a man's voice in here before. Just like a single word, male voice. Not just once, but twice.
The voice rattles him more than the broken screen did, and he says he can feel something in the air around him now.
Strange sensation in here for sure, especially with that voice.
A little further on, the woods hand him something the old stories had promised. See, part of the folklore ties this ground to ancient pagan worship, to the springs and wells where water comes up out of the earth. And there, just off the path, is a well.
I've just stumbled across what appears, well, is a well by the look of it. Let's take a look.
By now, the light is gone. With no torch, he picks his way across another footbridge and onto a path with a sheer drop to the river, a good 25 feet down into the dark. He thinks about turning back, then works out the only way home is to keep following the water the way he came.
Without a torch, it's impossible to see where I'm going at all. And it's a bit too dangerous as well, because on that drop, the drop to the side, it's 20 feet, 25 feet. So it's an atmospheric place. I've got to say, it's a very interesting place to come for a walk, just to get into some old woodland.
Nothing ever steps out of the trees. He works his way back toward the road on folklore, a glitching camera, and a voice he can't explain. He never does find the ruin of Lankin's castle, or anything to put a face to that voice. The one grounded reply in his comments came from a viewer wondering whether iron-rich ground could scramble a GoPro like that. And on the walk out, over the sound of the running water, he catches the last odd thing of the night.
Cool. The sound of the water almost sounds like people's voices.
A glitch, a voice, and water playing tricks add up to the mildest kind of night out here. Right until you're the one alone in the dark holding the camera. The next wood didn't deal in maybes. Its dead weren't folklore. They were a matter of public record. There's a wood in West Sussex that locals will warn you about, and the record backs them up. Between 1972 and 1981, 4 people were found dead in it: a police constable, an elderly man, a local reverend, and a young woman. On top of the deaths, the place has spent years building a reputation for occult activity. Strange lights, a large black dog, and pet dogs that walk in and never come back out. In March 2026, a team calling themselves Harps went in after dark, hoping to catch some of it on their locked-off cameras.
Near a hill. We have no idea what terrifying events this night has in store for us. So come with us into the night to investigate Clappen Woods.
They rig locked-off cameras around one particular tree, the one the local stories fix on. And while the lead investigator is checking the angle on a little screen, he says he watched a dark figure walk across the frame, right behind him.
Mini screen, a black figure walked behind me in front of this tree. So it walked along there, sort of from here over to that direction. So hopefully.
There was no one else in the wood with them. He's adamant about it afterward, swearing on a stack of Bibles that he saw it move from one side of the tree to the other, even if the camera was only in test mode when it happened. See, they're deep in the trees here, the better part of a mile from the nearest church or farm building, and nowhere near a power line. So when their meters start spiking, and the cat balls and a teddy bear they've planted start going off on their own, there's nothing obvious to pin it on.
Church, but there's no reason at all for there to be any EMF anomalies up here.
No. Can you do something so that we know you're with us, please? Please.
They work a spirit box against the readings, calling into the trees. The box starts answering, first with names, one after another. Dorothy, then Winterfred, then Albert, none of which mean a thing to them.
Don't stand there watching. Come forward to us. See this? Thank you. Can you come forward again? Touch this again for us. Thank you.
They ask it to prove it's really there, and one of the meters climbs past anything they've seen all night.
Look at that.
Wow, that's off the scale, that one.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you very much. Could you stop that now, please? Would you step away from it, please?
Then the first real word lands, and it fits the place a little too neatly.
Misery. Is it hard being stuck in these woods?
They keep at it, and the next one hits harder, given what's in this wood's
What
history.
did that say?
Below.
Below. Are you buried in these woods?
EMF has gone again.
Yep, got it. Are you buried in these woods?
You'll have heard from the history at the beginning of this tape that there was 4 deaths in this wood, 4 bodies found in this wood.
Then, out in the dark, more than one of them stops walking to listen to the same thing coming from the trees.
Over there. I can hear like shouting.
They go looking and turn up nothing, but the feeling doesn't lift.
I just get the feeling that someone's watching us, you know? Strange.
Back at the tree, the planted objects keep triggering, and they're careful to rule out the wind, leaving a tag on the teddy bear, so you can see the breeze move the tag without ever moving the bear.
See, that cat ball was going off. That really was going off by itself. I'm going to have to come out of infrared at the moment, because it will bleed out on that one otherwise. You see the red lights on there.
The box keeps handing them fragments, and one of them lands less like a random word and more like a person talking.
I hated my life. Why? Can you whistle for me?
And watch the still they pulled off the camera on the tree. Low down, in among the roots, there's the shape of a dog. Its head turns straight to the lens. They never brought a dog. In a wood known for animals that vanish, that single frame is the kind of thing people don't talk themselves out of. On the way toward the exit, they stop at a ruined church on the edge of the woods, and the box has something waiting for them there too.
Would you like to communicate with us?
Spirits, come forward. Come forward towards this green light. We wish to communicate. We wish no harm.
Concerned.
We come with respect. We come with love.
Beware of the woman and concerned. What woman do we need to be concerned about?
We just need to make contact with you.
Back among the trees, they keep pushing it for a name, a story, anything, right up until it hands them the line that ends the night.
So, I killed people, it's just said, so I think we should go. Hey?
Light coming up there.
Yeah. So I think we're going to wrap this one up before we get blown away. And say thank you very much for joining us. Hope you enjoyed the video.
Harps at least had numbers, and cameras pointed at each other all night. The next man walked into a place with just as grim a name, and just as grim a story, completely alone. The place is called Dead Woman's Ditch, out on the Quantock Hills in Somerset, and the name is not for show. Local legend ties it to Jane Walton, a woman said to have been murdered by her husband and left in the ground somewhere along that trail. In March 2026, an explorer who goes by Studog went back to it alone at night. He'd been before with a friend called Kieran, and something on that first visit had refused to leave him alone.
People apparently in the area have seen big black dogs with red eyes. So if I see one of those, I'm running. But yeah.
Before he's even properly started, he passes on a warning he's just been handed, that people in the area have been seeing big black dogs with red eyes. He isn't out here as a skeptic, and he says so out loud, speaking to the woods before he goes any deeper.
I believe it is. After what I saw the itch I'm in.
Then he explains what actually pulled him back up here.
But that there, I do not know what that was. I know there was a horse to the right, go to the left, and that thing that dropped beside me, that wasn't that stick.
On the first trip, he says, there were noises he couldn't place, a horse somewhere off to one side, and something that dropped out of the dark right next to him that he swears wasn't a branch. Kieran, standing further down the trail, said he'd watched something get thrown, and that the second he sat down on a rock, something massive seemed to rise up beside him and then was gone. He isn't far in tonight when a pair of eyes starts blinking back at him.
What the hell did I just see? That was blinking then. And again.
He steadies the camera and braces for it, and it turns out to be exactly what these woods usually hand you when you go looking.
What the hell is it? That's not a bunny. Oh, no way. A deer. Oh, it's a deer. Sorry, dear, I didn't mean to blind you. I wonder what it was. Start blinking at me. See just eyes in the wood, man. Start blinking at you. Christ.
The deer settles him for about a minute. Then the trail starts giving him things that don't shrug off as easily. Sticks, stacked deliberately against a tree, where nobody had any reason to stack them. He's noticed it before out here, he says, and it never sits right with him.
Strange. Sticks piled up against a tree.
He digs out a spirit box app and starts working it, holding it up, asking the dark to speak into it. See, the legend says this ground still holds the murdered woman, so hers is the name he keeps calling for.
Is there a Jane Bolton here?
What comes back first isn't a name at all.
You might have to speak quite clearly though, because it is quite hard to understand this app. That is creepy. That was a creepy little laugh.
He keeps pushing, asks whether the spirit's angry, asks again for a name. The device gives him one, and it's a man's.
Stuart.
Later, deeper in, he stops walking because the footsteps he's hearing don't match his own, and he can't tell whether they belong to the ghost tour working the far end of the woods.
Well, I was walking then, but could it be that group?
The sounds don't quit. Every few minutes there's another one, closer to a footstep than to wind.
Like faint crunches or just like a step or something.
He never turns up red eyes, or the woman, or anything he can stand behind, and by the end, he's well over an hour in, jumping at his own torchlight, and more than ready to be back at the car. On the way out, the tour guide leaves him with one last piece of local lore. See, people have claimed they come up here, wander the trees for a while, and get back to a car that simply won't start, dead for 15 or 20 minutes before it turns over like nothing happened.
Stop. And they leave for about 15-20 minutes and the cars start back up again. So don't know if that's a thing. Has anyone experienced up here?
Stew Dog drove home with a stranger's name off a phone app, a pile of sticks, and a rumor about cars that won't start. Unsettling, but nothing you could hold in your hand. The next man left something you could, a camera, and a hole in the woods where a person used to be. A channel called Pasha Brill opened a January 2026 video with a flat, unsettling claim. He'd found a camera belonging to a missing person, and whatever was on it had gone to the police.
I found the camera of a missing person right under a railway bridge. Inside it was a shocking and disturbing recording, which was later confiscated by the police. It honestly feels like I somehow attract strange events in this area. The only thing that brings some relief is the fact that I can at least use this and turn it into a story for this video.
He explains he'd been volunteering on a search in a large nature reserve where a man had walked into the trees days earlier and simply stopped existing on the record. No tracks, no witnesses. He wasn't hunting for anything in particular when he stumbled onto the man's campsite, days cold and long abandoned.
Judging by its condition, it was clear that no one had been there for several days. That was the moment when everything started to feel off. especially after I found an action camera roughly 1,000 feet from the camp, near the railroad tracks.
1,000 feet from the tent, out by the railway line, he found the man's GoPro. Dead battery, barely a mark on it. What he says he pulled off it is the footage he then handed to the authorities. He walks through his theories carefully. Maybe the man ran from someone who'd noticed the camera watching them. Maybe an animal. Maybe he fell somewhere no search would ever think to look. There's one detail he can't fit anywhere. Something he only calls a not quite living dog, sitting in the middle of the camp. The missing man, he says, was 28, a photographer, and had carried a firearm in with him for protection.
And that raises a logical question. Why didn't the search team or the police find this camp if I was able to locate it myself? The campsite isn't deep in the forest at all. It's practically right near the entrance, not to mention the action camera lying in plain sight. Was there really a search team here at all? Or was the search and rescue operation carried out only on paper, simply for reporting purposes?
The video ends with no answer and the tape's in police hands. See, his comments section was far less convinced than he was. Plenty of viewers called the whole thing staged, pointing to how spotless the tent was, how every object looked fresh out of a shop, how a real search team could never have walked past a camp sitting that close to the entrance. Staged or not, the shape of the story is the one people keep running into out here. Somebody walks into the trees, and the trees keep him. Victor left behind a camp, a camera, and nothing else. The last man in this video didn't leave anything behind because he got out, but for a few minutes in the dark, he had no idea whether he would, and he knew exactly what was circling his tent. By January 2024, the camper behind the Northwest Wind had 17 of these stealth camps on his channel. Number 18 looked like the safest one yet. A public park, dog walking trails, families a few hundred yards away. He was barely settled in before the feeling started, and he couldn't shake it.
I keep feeling like somebody's watching me, and it's like very strong feeling, like hair on the back of my neck standing up.
He tries to argue himself out of it. Then, in the last of the light, someone walks past his tent, close enough to touch it, and doesn't seem to notice he's there.
About 10 minutes or so. Somebody just walked by. I don't know if they had a dog or not, but they definitely didn't see me, but I could barely see them. The tent does not sit high at all. I've been sitting on my belly case. It was while I was eating, just finishing up eating. I don't know why, I'm just spooked. I haven't been saying that, but I've been spooked since I got here. I keep feeling like somebody's watching me. And then seeing that person. I know it's a public park, but still. All right, well, darkest hours of the day.
Once it's dark, he kills his lantern so the light won't glow through the fly. The footsteps come back. This time they don't keep walking.
There's somebody, hang on. I don't know if they could see it or not through the tent. I don't think so. I'm leaning right up against the light, but somebody's walking around out there very close to the tent.
He goes dead quiet and listens. It isn't one person out there.
They're really close. They're like 10 feet away. I think there's two people. I can't tell. I can barely hear them talking. They're whispering. I think there's two people.
They start circling the tent, then putting their hands on it. He calls out, and nobody answers.
Hello? All right, I don't like this. Hello? Hello? They're touching my tent. Stop.
Then the poles give, and the whole tent comes down on top of him while he's still inside it.
Collapsed my tent on me. I don't know which way they went. think they went this way. I see you. Get away! All right, I'm spooked. I don't like this. Get my headlamp on and we're getting out of here right now. They're just standing there. They're just standing there. What do you want? Leave me alone! They went over that way. I can't see them now. I know you're there. I see you.
He fights his way out. Two figures are standing in the dark, not moving, close enough that he can smell cigarette smoke coming off them.
It smells like someone's smoking a cigarette too. I smell your cigarette. I smell your cigarette. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. I have a knife. I smell your cigarette. All right, I'm officially like tweaking now. I'm like, all right, we're just gonna get out of here. We're just gonna get out of here. I'll come back for this crap later. Do I have my phone? I'm gonna call 911 if you come near me.
He runs. He doesn't know the way out. He's soaked to the skin, and at least one of them comes after him through the trees.
Stay away from me! They're coming behind me. I don't know what they're doing. They could just be me. One of them. Okay, here's a trail of some kind. I just ate. I'm soaked. I'm toast. Okay, oh, they're coming. Leave me alone!
He goes down in the brush more than once, drags himself back up, and finally hits a path he recognizes.
I hear them coming. I can't see the shadow. Here's a path. Okay, get me there. I'm recording all of this. I'm calling the police. All right, I'm back on the path. Back on the path. Okay.
By his own count, it was the fourth time they came at him that night. He reaches a clearing, puts the open ground at his back, and stands there watching the fog until he's sure nothing is following.
Oh God, it's the fourth time. I swear, if I had a firearm, I probably would have used it by now. Oh my God, my nerves are shot. Adrenaline. Oh my God. Oh my God. Holy shit. Oh man, I hope my phone isn't drained.
He made it to his car. In the comments, people argued about everything he did wrong, narrating his own fear out loud, leaving his headlamp burning like a beacon. And it was the smell of a cigarette that told most of them this was people, not some animal in the dark. What none of them could tell him was the only thing that mattered: who they were, what they wanted, or why they pulled his tent down with him still inside it. Run enough of these back to back and a pattern shows up. Most of the time, the thing waiting in the dark is another person: a drunk, a scrapper, a bored kid, someone in the middle of their own bad night. That's frightening enough on its own. It's the handful that never close: the barefoot woman who ran at a van, a sound with no animal behind it, a man who walked into a reserve and left only a camera, that people keep coming back to at 2 in the morning. Those are the only ones nobody's ever managed to explain away.